Hello everyone and welcome to Game 3 here on Metropolis. Series is currently tied at 1 game apiece. Tarson versus Killer. Killer spawning as the yellow Zerg at the 12 o'clock position. Tarson spawning as the light blue Terran. Terran versus Zerg on a map such as this. Metropolis, one of those maps where there's a lot of dead space, so Mutalisk could be fairly effective. Now, we'll see what strategy Tarson will open up with this time. In the previous 2 games, he has gone for the gasless opening, single barracks into expand, following it up with double gas into either heavy bio play or Hellion Banshee play. Meanwhile, Killer has been pretty consistent as well, opening up with a single hatchery, but then following it up with a lot more Zerglings than you would normally see. Those Zerglings poke apart just because of the Terran production versus the Zerg production. The Zerglings were able to deal a lot of damage early on and really slow down everything. And it really puts the Terran player on the defensive. When they're on the defensive against a Zerg, the Zerg player pretty much then has that license to drone, as I've mentioned, and then he's able to get up that very strong economy. We'll see if that will be the same case this time around, or if these players will try to differ from their strategies, since this is the 3rd game. In StarCraft 2, it is really important to not only play against the race, you're also playing against the player at the high levels, and also trying to figure out what they're doing with their strategies. You can see back over here, Tarson is still going for that single barracks fast command center build, no gas down over here, and I would have liked to see Tarson perhaps change it up and place down a command, or place down a barracks, perhaps placing down a barracks in an out of the way location, and perhaps somewhere down over here, but that's often scouted. And what Tarson would have shown Killer is that, hey, I'm going to be doing the same exact build once again, but really there would be a lot more Marines and perhaps being able to actually put down pressure. But then again, Killer has been opening up with a lot of Zerglings anyways, so Killer knows how to deal with training up Zerglings in the early game and still having an effective economy as a Zerg. There's that command center, as I mentioned. Tarson should be following this up with, there's one refinery. Where is the second one? Wait for it. There you go. So double refineries already being established here at the main base, and now we're going to see an SCV just wander around here now. So SCV wandering around on the inside is going to spot the drones, on the gas, and notices that it is, a single gas play. Nothing too out of the ordinary as of yet. And now, it's really going to come down to what this SCV wants to do. He does need to get out of here rather quickly, otherwise he is going to get chewed apart by those Zerglings. And if Killer opted to go for, say, less Zerglings this time around and open up with a much more heavy economic build, then that might actually catch Tarson off guard. Tarson, I believe, yes, he is going to be building a bunker down over here. He may even try to build another bunker over here as well, or another building of some sort, to make sure that the Zerglings can't simply run by and then start attacking the SCVs at the back of the mineral patches off over here. We are going into the Hellion reactor play. As I mentioned earlier, this is that double gas, so Tarson may be trying to go for those Banshees again, or he could just decide to add on a tech lab with the barracks and start stim. So far, Killer enjoying his 10 supply lead, his harvester advantage 23-20. Nothing to really write home about as of yet, and we'll see what Killer does with his next couple of rounds of spawn larva. That is going to be the key portion. We see 8 drones now being added, and a new queen will be added out over here. Wow. And with that, we may see just heavy drone production for quite some time. Queen now making its way up onto the high ground, perhaps going to lay down a creep tumor here. There's another inject, so Killer going to be getting about 20 larvae a minute as we are now going into roaches. So Killer really learning from the first game, not having those roaches, opting to go for those roaches, and the roaches are really only bad against either Banshees or siege tanks. Now, those roaches do move fairly quickly, so you are able to, wander around with them and get them into position in a fairly quick amount, or fairly fast manner. We'll see what's going to be happening next. Creep tumors are being placed down. One queen on the edge of the creep, wanting to lay down another creep tumor. Another creep tumor is getting placed down off over here. The Hellions controlling the center Xel'Naga towers as we are going into Banshees. So Tarson, following up from what he did in game 1, makes total perfect sense. He won game 1. He did end up losing game 2, as we are now going into perhaps another creep tumor down here, and perhaps trying to establish up that third. Hellions look like they will be able to take down one creep tumor rather easily. There you go. There's only one Zergling. Roaches are being added, and now we see that the Banshees with Cloak are being added once more. So 4 Hellions still just dancing around here. We are going into some supply depots on the front door, and this is always one of those instances where Zerg is in a weird situation. They're trying to counter the Hellions by getting roaches, only to see that cloaked Banshees will be coming in. So a lot of the time, some Zerg players are not even at tier 2 yet. They can't go into Mutalisk. They can't get the Overseer, so they're just going to be playing a little bit defensively. A Spore Crawler is being added. No Spine Crawlers as of yet, as we now see one Banshee in the air, and I believe the Hellion got the kill. The Hellion had to have gotten the kill since the Banshee did not. And now we'll see where this Banshee pilot will go. And there is one Spore Crawler off over here. We'll see what's going to be happening. That Banshee perhaps going to be making a straight move, but the Banshee pilot forced to retreat. It is now down to 86 hit points, and is it going to cloak is the key question. Tarson does already have cloaking research finished. Perhaps the Banshee pilot wants her sister to show up in order to take down what should be the third base. Now, Tarson does not know about that expansion. He probably has a very good idea that it is there. Killer now supply blocked, 86 over 86 supply. Tarson now going into his own third base as well, being built on the backdoor rocks. Killer, I believe, yes, he does spot this. So well with insight, and Tarson does not spot him. Still, drones are being transferred between all of these locations, as the harvester count now shows 60 to 45. 33% more for Tarson, or sorry, for Killer at this stage. Hellions now making their way down. Roaches coming in. Spore Crawler now coming in as well. Or Spore Crawler, yeah. Where is it going to go? The Spore Crawler is not a detector while it is uprooted. That is bad news. Killer is going to end up losing this one queen. No transfusion. Oh, a transfusion could go down, and I believe I believe there was enough energy on one of those queens, and not quite sure why the transfusion didn't go down. That would have been absolutely huge. Killer may actually get lucky here, taking down one of these Banshees. If he had actually focused down the other one, it would have been quickly destroyed, and those Banshees would not have had a very good return on investment at all. Tarson now, after his tricks have been revealed, and Killer opting to go for a less Zergling intensive opening, now has the advantage at this point. 60 harvesters versus 51, and we'll see what the next transition, what the next step will be. Overseer now simply flying by. The Overseer does not have the pneumatized carapace. It will get taken down, and the Marines are still just wandering around still. Now, Killer at this point, he needs to be very, very careful. He cannot afford to just sit back and let Tarson take up this third base. He is establishing his own fourth base, which is a nice move, but eventually there will be will be no more mineral patches on the map to really easily take, and with that, Terran, as long as they stay even or are able to deny one of those expansion locations, the Zerg player is in a bit of trouble. Tarson does have, I believe, a 12 supply deficit or 10 supply deficit right now, but with a starport and a reactor, he could be double training those medevacs at any moment. He has the minerals, he has the gas. I'm not quite sure why he isn't doing that as of yet. The Marines are only upgraded 1-1. He has not started his upgrades and not been nearly on top of his upgrades as he was in games 1 and 2. Killer, let's take a look at his upgrades. He is upgraded 0-1, going to be upgraded 0-2 in just a moment, as we are now seeing pathogen glands being added for those infestors. We could get some fungal growth off, and that may just be everything Killer needs in order to execute a very, very strong attack. drones now doing the little bit of that walk of shame. This hatchery is about to be completed. It should be completed well in time for all of these drones to just simply return their minerals. But in comes the Marines. One queen does get taken down. Zerglings now trying to make their way in. Roaches and even a Spore Crawler joining in on the fight. Spore Crawler really can't do much of anything. And what is going to happen here, as there are Banshees in the air to escort the Spore Crawler, very, very slow off of creep, now going to finally get in position. Is it going to root? Yes, it is. It is now going to root. There are Banshees off over here. Queens need to get over there. There is one Overseer, but what is the point of an Overseer when you don't have anything that attacks air? And really, Hydralisk really need to make a very, very strong comeback into this game. There comes some Changelings coming in from Killer. No, sorry, not Changelings. Those are infested Terrans. Saw the Overseer, thought it was a Changeling for a second, and cleans up the rest of that drop. Nope. The rest of the drop is still hiding off over here. The Medivacs will be able to escape. The Medivacs low on hit, or not low on hit points. The Banshees look like they will be coming back around. And how much damage could be dealt? There are 2 infested Terrans here, and there's the fungal growth. Oh, this could absolutely be huge. There's another fungal growth. Infested Terrans now attempting to take down those units. One more fungal growth, and beautifully played by Killer. Wait, no, we need one more. Is it going to be enough? One infestor does get taken down. Are we going to get a fungal growth? The Banshee still has plenty of energy, but with the Overseer there, the Overseer was able to spot it. We are coming in for a drop inside the main base now. Tarson has no overlords in that particular location. Marines are now being dropped down over here. Zerglings are trying to make their way back over in a hurry alongside those roaches. Spine crawlers are being added. Infestation pit quickly getting focused down. Will it get taken down? As the Zerglings with those 1-2 upgrades trying to finish off the Marines, unable to do so, as we are now going into Ultralisk again. Tarson is still behind by about 14 supply. Is it going to be... Is he going to be able to get back into this is the key question, as he is running up on 3 bases. Now taking a look at the harvester count, 77 versus 69, making sure that there are no ventral sacks on those overlords. Nothing of the sort, as the Marines looking to perhaps do a drop, but there are roaches. We are going into the Catonis plating and adrenal glands once more. A large army of Marines pushing out across the center. One Zergling will catch those units. Sitting over here by that Zelnaga tower. Always very important to know where your opponent is, as we are now going into level 3 weapons upgrade for infantry and level 1 weapon upgrade for mech. Those siege tanks will be able to one-shot Zerglings, which is absolutely critical, as opposed to taking 2 shots. That is 100% or a 50% increase in efficiency on those siege tanks. Ultralisk are off over here. We see Infestors, Zerglings, and Banelings. We'll see what's going to be happening here. Marines and siege tanks. That is a lot of siege tanks. 10 siege tanks. Think about it like 6 Colossi. Very, very devastating. Very, very destructive. Even to their own Terran army. We'll see if it's going to be enough. These siege tanks may simply just fall apart if he's not very, very careful. Ultralisk, the siege tank spread is very nice. You see a little bit of separation in between these packs of siege tanks, making sure that they don't all fire at the same Zergling ball. The Zerglings do quickly get destroyed there. The siege tanks are upgraded to 1-0, now dealing 38 damage per attack. But in comes Infestors and Tarson without a Raven this time. This is going to be painful. The Infestors are now down off over here. Are the Infestors going to find? Yes, they are going to find this. There is a planetary fortress. So what is going to be happening? What is going to go down? Infestors now making their way down into this base as well. The Infestors just going to hide off over here. And perhaps, no, they're going to... Where are they going to go? They are not going to be able to go down off over here. There's the Infested Terrans. And dropping and unloading a lot of them. Infested Terrans inside the 3rd, Infested Terrans inside the 4th base, and the Infested Terrans may actually be able to perhaps shoot down and destroy the Planetary Fortress. The Planetary Fortress does have 3 armor. The Infested Terrans are not upgraded at all, though, so it looks like the Planetary Fortress will be salvaged alongside this one orbital command, but I believe some workers were lost as missile turrets now being established. 198 versus 189. A scanner sweep off to the north doesn't reveal much of anything. down over here. Missile turrets are being established again. What is Killer going to do? As soon as those missile turrets are done, those, what are those Marines? The Marines are simply ignoring it, trying to move away, as we now see a very, very large attack coming in from the front door. Ultralisk able to charge down the front door and destroying all of these siege tanks because there were no Marines. Now we see that there are infested Terrans here in the mineral line at the third base. Ultralisk are backing off. Tarson taking a little bit too much damage there. Ultralisk slicing away. It does finally get taken down, but the infested Terrans still doing a great job shooting down SCVs, and Killer could perhaps get some more infested Terrans here in just a moment. Infested Terrans off over here as well. Infestors, I guess the magical comeback unit for Zerg, as we now see that a lot more workers are killed. 25 workers lost, 55 versus 78. But we are almost even on supply, about a 20, actually no, we are not even on supply at all, 20 difference between these two armies, and Tarson now needs to make something happen. We can see that the Ultralisks do not have level 3 weapons upgrade just quite yet. We are going into the Corruptors. We should be going into a Greater Spire as well. And, yes, there they are. There it is. And as we get the Greater Spire, Broodlords, with that range 9.5, should be able to stop many of these Marines, especially when coupled with Infestors. The Marines naturally want to try to take down all of those units. Ultralisks, oh, could have made their way in. And, oh, getting 3 free siege tanks. That is huge. And now backing away. The Marines now trying to charge back again. Level 1 ship weapons upgrade is being added, so he perhaps does expect that there are going to be Broodlords, and he wants to be able to get those Vikings out in a hurry. Now we are going to be going into a bit of a push. The Marines do take down a couple of those units. Ultralisks actually running away from Marines. A little bit of a oddity there. Ultralisk is down to 15 hit points. Perhaps it should get healed back up by a couple transfusions. Siege tanks now making their way in. One Ultralisk. Oh, all of the Ultralisks able to. Nope, only one of them gets taken down there. And we'll see what Tarson does with this continual push. We're going to have another engagement. Siege tanks now trying to push in, but they are 3 seconds not sieged. There's a fungal growth, dealing a lot of damage across multiple Marines. And Killer is just trying to economically trade energy for units. If he can do this, that would be absolutely critical and perfect, as we now see the siege tanks are going to start blasting away at those units. Infestors now getting a very, very nice fungal growth across multiple Marines. We may see even another one. No more energy on those Infestors, as the Ultralisks all get taken down. Zerglings now going for an anti-drop over here. The Banelings may... Oh, the Banelings finding a couple of Marines, and the Marines now once again unloaded. Tarson is in a very, very dominant situation now, able to take down multiple, hitting 2 of the bases of his opponent, and with an actual army as opposed to just Banshees. Infestors were good at taking down some of the workers, but they are not good at really taking down some of the key buildings here, and it looks like Killer will be losing this base. We are getting the ship level 1 weapons upgrade. It has been completed. Corruptors, 15 Corruptors now left on the field, but that is not really... Oh, what is this? We now see 5 Broodlords already out on the field as well. Corruptors could be coming in to focus down those medevacs, and if that is the case, that would be huge, because the Marines would naturally try to jump inside those medevacs, and now not realizing that the Corruptors are nearby, and they really have nowhere to go. Broodlings are now coming out to chase after against all those Marines once more, but all of these medevacs will get taken down. That is a very, very expensive number of units, as the Broodlords still dropping in. And now Corruptors going to take down these medevacs here. Corruptors are slightly faster, taking down those 100 mineral, 100 gas units. Tarson with a very, very nice comeback attempt. It may be too little too late. We are now sitting on 6 Broodlords and 29 Corruptors. That is a crazy number of Corruptors. I can't imagine why you would need 29. And we'll see what these Corruptors are able to do. 29 Corruptors in the air. 29 Broodlords definitely sounds much, much, much more scary. And we'll see what's going to be happening here. The Broodlords are upgraded 1-0. We can see a little bit of long-distance mining spy crawlers being added off over here. Perhaps a creep tumor needs to be laid down, or a hatchery needs to be placed down as well. Killer still having a great bank of minerals, still a little bit behind in gas, needs to get more gas. Perhaps long distance gas mining would be the better and safer call, as these spine crawlers may all fall apart. Marines now trying to do a bit of a drop off over here, but the Corruptors are going to shut this down. There you go, no more medevacs. transfusions, saving a couple of the buildings here. And now the Marines, all they can really do is perhaps try to take down this infestation pit. Infestation pit does go down. Broodlings are now out once more. And now we see a large attack force of those Broodlords, 8 Broodlords in the field, ready to pounce down. The Vikings need to go after those Broodlords, but there are so many Corruptors that the Corruptors may be able to even one-shot those Vikings as well. Corruptors do have more hit points than a Viking. That is important to note, but the Vikings have that 1-0 upgrade. 20 Corruptors, and now we'll see what's going to be happening now. Production, we are getting into 6 more Broodlords, so up to 14 now, and that is going to be a sight to behold. Now, it looks like these spine crawlers are going to start to bleed. Really, really bad play here. He should just uproot them, and then uprooted spine crawlers for some reason don't bleed. I guess the ground doesn't attack them as much. We'll see what's going to be happening here. That will be a loss of a fair amount of resources. We can see that there are a lot of Broodlords in the center. 14 Broodlords making their way in. Banelings have just hatched as well. And what is happening? All right, in comes the Broodlords, in comes the Banelings. The siege tanks are not in siege mode. That may be a really, really bad day. Vikings are going to come in and engage as well. Siege tanks need to come down from the map. Corruptors going up against the Vikings. And here we go. Broodlords just continuing to rain down. Vikings now coming back in. Tarson losing a lot of his units here. And this is not looking good at all for Tarson. The Broodlords are still in the air, still up to 14. Corruptor's going to go ahead and finish off the Vikings. And I'm just waiting for the GG now, as Tarson has got to realize that he cannot stick around in this fight for far too long. Broodlords still just pushing their way in. The medevacs are going to get all taken down. Tarson is in a bit of a retreat mode. Thor is not doing enough damage. Even though they are anti-air, they are more to counter Mutalisk. Tarson now down to 86 supply compared to 200. And Killer looks like he will win this best of 3 series after taking down this expansion off over here. Alright, just waiting for the GG now. Tarson perhaps just reflecting on his loss. Planetary Fortress is down to 600 some odd hit points, and there's the GG. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this best of 3 series between Killer and Tarson.